I don't want to argue, yet keep poking the bear. They'll frustrate the daylights out of you and watch you go off as they remain calm and behave as though they're your therapist. You're a patient. You're nuts. They will accuse you of never listening when they're the only ones that get to talk, but you'll still make sure to give them even more space to talk again. And as soon as you try to get a turn, you're back to being interrupted, denied, and accused. They're trying to make you crazy, just like the story in the play Gaslit. We talk about gaslighting, and oftentimes the first thing that we think about when it comes to the narcissist is, I didn't say that, or that never happened. And yes, of course, that's gaslighting, but I thought I'd go into it a little bit deeper today. So, hi everyone, Deanna King here, and this channel is All Talk Narcissism and Codependency. And like all of us YouTubers say, please consider subscribing if you like this content. And if you aren't quite ready yet to do that, then please click a like and comment if you feel compelled to. But if you do like, of course, the algorithms tend to prefer showing content that has likes and comments. So I'm trying to push this channel forward here. So thank you. That being said, let's begin. Gaslighting is a slang for making someone question their own reality. The word also describes a person, the gaslighter, who uses words and sometimes tricks to make others unsure of what is real and what is not real. That's from Wikipedia. But the thing is that it only works on vulnerable people. So a lot of us don't really question our own reality when we hear them saying that they never did or said that, because we know darn well better that they did. But that doesn't mean that we're immune to all of their gaslighting techniques. Remember, they're playing with our reality here, and they do it with lies and tricks. A person might meet a friend of the narcissist, and that friend is already being told untrue things about you. So you can feel an energy from them every time that you see them. Something seems off. So you ask the narcissist about it. You might say something like, I don't know, so and so seems a bit uncomfortable around me, inquiring about the whys here, right? The narcissist is not going to hesitate to just literally blurt out something as cold and matter of factly as, he doesn't like you. And yes, it's triangulation, but you're also being gaslit. Remember, they're changing your reality. So now you feel awkward and unsure of yourself, and that shame wound that was instilled in you at an early enough age anyway, now resurfaces. Another example I'd like to share is something that I went through with a narcissist once. We were in this home renovation store, and like all other stores, you walk by people in aisles, right? That day, he walked over to me and whispered in my ear, those people were laughing at you, knowing full well that I would never make a scene. And besides, even if I had made a scene, I would still have ended up looking like a crazy person, because remember, narcissists never said that. The story of narcissism, it derives from a play in I think it was the 1930s. The play was called Gaslit. It involved the husband wanting his wife to believe that she was crazy because this was someone that he had married because he had discovered that she was rich. It wasn't about love, it was about exploiting her. And so what he did was he would do these things like moving items around in the house or making things just disappear. And the one that most people hear about was the scene where he keeps lowering the lights on these lamps, where she could have sworn those lights were turned to high intensity. It's psychological abuse. And unfortunately, the ending is tragic, where she ends up being committed, where he ends up inheriting all of her wealth. That pretty much sounds like a narcissist, does it not? Narcissists, they love playing these games. Makes them feel in control and powerful. And then they get to not have to take accountability in their actions. Here's another example. A couple goes to a party, and during the evening, it is obvious that the narcissist was flirting with another all night long. I mean, really obvious here, right? Fetching his drinks, wiping something off of his face, etc. So you get home and you let her know how you felt about her behavior. And rather than an apology, you get a, wow, I cannot believe that you're such a wuss. I was merely being friendly. I'm sorry you're so wound up about all of this. If I knew you were going to be so emotional about all of this, I would have made sure to talk only to you tonight. Very condescending, right? Now, how do you think that man is feeling about now? He was made to feel as though he wasn't a man at all, but instead a weakling. And a man certainly doesn't want to seem like a weakling. She triggered him where it hurt the most. And the next morning, he might just apologize to her with something like, I'm sorry about last night. I was really tired. And even if he doesn't apologize and still firmly believes, or rather knows, that she was flirting, he'll still secretly doubt himself for being weak. That right there is changing the perception. It's not about the story. It's about now the perception about himself is what she changed. This is gaslighting. Here's another example. I had a client once who was being gaslit, and like most of us here, she didn't believe that she was being gaslit because she would come to me furious sometimes, telling me how he outright lied about what had been said and denied everything that she accused him of, even with all the proof. But then one day she said to me that she wanted to work on her passive aggressivity. And when I asked her what that was all about, where it came from, she told me that her boyfriend had he had gotten mad at her because she never states what's bothering her and instead bottles everything up inside. And that was the reason their relationship was rocky. And she wanted to learn to be able to speak up. She was a codependent. She found it extremely hard to ask for what she needed or talk about issues that she had within the relationship. Now, mind you, yes, we all want to learn how to express ourselves and stand up for ourselves, but we also know that if the person that we want to express with is a narcissist, that ain't happening. Now, over the weeks, she and I had discussed the high possibilities that she was dealing with a narcissist, but her reasoning was that, yes, he probably was. However, none of us are perfect and we all have flaws. So in her mind, she felt a need to work on that with him. Of course, we're supposed to work on that if we want to improve, but not around a narcissist. This ended up in being attacked and blamed for everything when she did address an issue about his behavior. So the whole time he had succeeded in making her believe that she had been part of the problem. See how that works? Another gaslighting story that I heard was with a boss and an employee. The boss being the narcissist, of course. This woman was working in a hotel as a housekeeper, and her boss had her running like a mad woman, expecting her to clean each room in a specific amount of time, which meant running the whole time, and yet expected her to have a perfectly polished room and not miss a beat. The towels had to be positioned just right. The beds couldn't have a single wrinkle. Bathrooms impeccable. You get the gist. So here she was running from morning till day's end with no breaks, no lunch. And her boss would come by inspecting her rooms once she was done with a fine-tooth comb and always had a negative to say. She'd say things like, you missed the soap in such and such a room. That is unacceptable. But even though she was 99.9% sure that she had done everything right, that 0.5% left her doubting. and left her feeling shamed because she had used that tone of voice with her, right? Unacceptable. Tone is gaslighting also. So that shame that she felt was from that not good enough wound from childhood. Finally, after being accused of things for so long, she started to take pictures of her rooms, and she realized that certain things that she was being accused of were false. She was being gaslit. She never did show the pictures to her boss, though, and it's a good thing she didn't, because somehow there would have been more blame, right? But what she did was quietly pull back as she searched for a new job. And I tell you that story because narcissists are everywhere. They are your partners, they are your friends, they are your coworkers. And by the way, a coworker can really do damage to a person. So we do need to keep eyes and ears wide open nowadays, not just our partners here. We want to protect ourselves, we have to keep our eyes open. This is today's world. This is our reality now. And they're also siblings and our mothers and our fathers. Narcissists want others to respect their boundaries, their wants, their needs, and privacy, but never the other way around. You end up in constant circular conversations that just go nowhere. You're always told that you're overreacting when you want to address an issue, so you can never get your issue resolved. And that's the point. They refuse to speak during the conversation. They will try to set rules in how the conversation goes. Boy, do they do that. I don't want to argue, yet keep poking the bear. They'll frustrate the daylights out of you and watch you go off as they remain calm and behave as though they're your therapist. You're a patient. You're nuts. They will accuse you of never listening when they're the only ones that get to talk, but you'll still make sure to give them even more space to talk again. And as soon as you try to get a turn, you're back to being interrupted, denied, and accused. They're trying to make you crazy, just like the story in the play Gaslit. They will talk over you and then accuse you of you talking over them. They will end the conversation before you get to express yourself. Then how about the I forgot? Anyone familiar with that one? And what can you say about that? They disarmed you. You'll ask them to pick something up while they're going to the grocery store. You've even started writing the lists because you've been down that road one too many times. But even then, they still come home with all kinds of things that weren't even on the list, stuff that they wanted, and everything that you listed isn't there. This time, what they forgot was the list in the vehicle. No, no, they didn't. They're playing you. This is purposeful. And I know because we hear it over and time again from victims of narcissistic abuse. This is no longer a coincidence. And then they, well, a lot of them anyway, blame it on their self-diagnosed ADHD or something as an excuse. But don't be fooled there, because pay attention to how they never forget what's for them. Let's continue. Gaslighting doesn't always look like bold-faced lies or public humiliation. Sometimes it's more subtle. It's in the tone, like I mentioned a while ago. I think I did anyway. It's in the phrasing. It's in the way that will make you question your own intentions. Phrases like, you always blow things out of proportion. It's not what I meant. You need to calm down. That's just not a simple neutral statement here. It's invalidating, it's dismissive, it's telling you that your reaction is the problem, not what they did. Or they flip it into a false concern. I'm worried about you. I'm just trying to help. Oh, geez, I don't think I can ever hear that sentence again from anybody. I even hate saying it myself. But that help is really there to make you feel incompetent, like you can't trust your own judgment. They'll use family to back them up too. This is why your family doesn't talk to you, or why can't you be more like so and so? They love planting that seed that you're the issue and you're unlovable. and that you're the black sheep. And they always find a way to twist it into your fault. You're too emotional. You're so dramatic. Can't you take a joke? This is why we can't communicate. You can't take jokes. Or the classic, you're passive aggressive and it's causing issues. Meanwhile, you're the one walking on eggshells. They'll even say, "Oh, you have it so bad, don't you?" In that sarcastic tone, mocking you, shaming you for having feelings in the first place. You bring up something that hurt you? Wow, here we go again. You always blow things out of proportion. Sound familiar? And then when you catch them in something like cheating, lying, crossing a boundary, they'll blame shift every single time. It's because of you I cheat. You don't give me enough affection. It's your behavior that makes me act this way. They'll make you feel like you're the childish one while they throw the tantrums. I mean, I've seen a man in his 50s jump up and down like a child, a 6 foot tall one at that. What a picture. And some of you have probably started recording conversations just to prove that you're not crazy, right? But you don't need to do that. You don't need to prove reality to them because they already know the truth. If you show them the recording, they'll just gaslight you more. Wow, are you that insecure that you feel the need to record me? Or are you okay? As if you're the unstable one. See, all in the tonality. I was reading these comments on social media, and one person online shared what her narcissist had said to her. He said, "You just can't take a joke. You're too sensitive, and it's stopping me from expressing myself. Now I can't even joke with anyone anymore." They love to flip the blame. It's your fault that they can't be their cruel, mocking selves. And some will accuse you of being controlling or paranoid when you try to get clarity. Why are you asking me that? Wow, are you stalking me now? It's blame shifting, minimizing, projecting, and shaming. And if they can keep you confused, doubting yourself, apologizing for things that you didn't do, they win. And if you're still not confused after all their efforts about the things that they accuse you of or that they did or didn't do, it still has left you feeling, because the subconscious mind, right, has all this memory, and it brings you right back to not being good enough and doubting yourself and self-hatred. Sometimes we feel self-hatred, for being a weakling and not standing up to them or not leaving them, or because we feel incapable, and that comes from our childhood. So we're half crazy in a sense, and that's what they're after, to make you crazy. So whether you believe it or not, they're still, what they said or what they didn't say, you're still feeling half crazy. Anyway, I hope I explained that right. Anyway, remember, you don't need to keep defending your reality to someone who's interested in destroying it. You don't need to record them to prove that they're hurting you. They already know. You don't need to keep hoping they'll suddenly get it. They don't want to. These aren't just passive aggressive remarks. They are psychological landmines designed to make you second guess your feelings, your perception, and even your sanity. You'll express pain and they'll say, "Why are you getting so worked up over this?" You bring up cheating and you're paranoid. You try to, and this one's a good one here, you try to assert a boundary and now you're being controlling. They'll even throw in, "This is why your family doesn't talk to you." Shaming, deflection, erosion of identity. It's death by 1,000, not paper cuts, but verbal cuts. They'll call you abusive just for standing up for yourself. They'll look you straight in the eye and tell you that you're the toxic one. And that one can sting, especially when it comes from family. People who are supposed to know your heart. So here's a couple more comments I read on social media. One person commented, "He told me that I wasn't putting him first. As I was packing my life to move across the world for him. Another lady wrote, I was told I ruined everything because I brought up how I felt. And then another one shared, he came home late and said, if you ate dinner alone, it's because you chose not to wait for me. They twist the knife just enough for you to feel shame for having basic human needs. And if you've ever tried to record them during a conversation just to have some kind of proof, you already know how deep that one goes. You play it back and they won't flinch. They'll say, wow, you're really insecure if you need to record me. Or some of them might just start really attacking and yelling full force, coming into your face, blaming you for infringing on their privacy. Some will accuse their partners of stalking them. Or, are you okay? As if your sanity is what's in question here. They all have different personalities, right? And let's not forget how they love to weaponize your sensitivity. You're too sensitive. You're self-conscious. And that's not a good look. You're stopping me from expressing myself. Now suddenly they're the victim because you had a reaction to their mistreatment. There's always a twist, a way to make you feel like you caused the chaos that they created. And here's something I want you to hear loud and clear. They already know what they're doing. You don't need to prove it to them. You don't need to argue. You don't need to one up them because they'll always squash you right back down. Not worth your time and energy. You don't need to show screenshots or replay voicemails. They know, they just don't care because gaslighting is not about facts. It's about power. It's about frustrating the daylights out of you. So if you're still walking on eggshells, if you've been shrinking to make someone else feel big, if your voice has gotten quieter over time, not louder, you are being emotionally suffocated by someone who wants control, not connection. Maybe they'll say that you're childish while they're the ones throwing tantrums and storming off mid-conversation. They'll call you needy while withholding affection. They'll say, I cheat because you pushed me away. It's all blame shifting. So if you've ever been in a relationship, a family, or even a workplace where you constantly feel like you're the problem, please take a moment to sit with this. Because you're not the problem, you're the target. And your body, your heart, your gut, they've known all along. Trust them. And if nothing else, trust this. Truth never gaslights. You don't have to keep explaining your pain to people who are committed to misunderstanding you. So that is all for today. And I hope that this helps you see some of the hidden ways that they twist your reality so that you can start to untwist it for yourself. If you found this helpful, please give it a like, share it with someone who might need to hear it, and remember, keep trusting that deep down knowing inside of you. It's always been there. They just tried to make you forget. So take care, everyone, and we shall see you in the next video. For now.